And welcome back to the Screen Team. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday evening. We have a special hour-long edition of the show. It's a very, very special show. Coming up in the second half hour, I'll be joined by Toby and also Tonica for a very special time travel love story themed show. It's going to be amazing. But before we get to that amazingness, we've got something more amazing for you.
Much more amazing.
Much more amazing for you. This is the first time we've actually done this before. What we're going to be doing this first half hour is taking a trilogy of films and reviewing the entire trilogy. We've never done that before, and I'm excited to have Laura on board to do the 3 Lord of the Rings films.
Woo-woo!
And, we couldn't pick like an easy trilogy to do. We had to do like the most difficult, longest trilogy of all time.
It's like 9.5 hours long, something like that.
Do you have the director's cut? Do you watch that? Do you watch the Return of the King one that's like 8 hours long? Man, it's crazy.
Well, I've watched parts of it here and there. Like, it's long, but it's interesting to look like when you watch like the special effects DVD and all that stuff. Just what it took to film these movies. It's epic. It really is. I mean, I don't use that word much at all, but I mean, the places they're filming, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And it's amazing that they can take, I mean, a lot of it has to be CGI because it's these creatures.
You can't recreate any.
No, I mean, they're not real. But I mean, the landscape that they use and just the way the costumes it just builds on itself. It just takes you away into this fantasy world, I guess.
We're going to start with Fellowship of the Ring, and the reason I wanted you on this show is because you really, really like the films, but you've also read the books too, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
you're a fan of the novel. So you're an expert, and I wanted you. Well, you are. You're more than an expert than I am. What is it? Let's start off with, before we get to the movies, what is it about this story that you like so much?
There's so many attributes in the story. The different characters, I mean, they add characters in, like the book does as they go along, but there's so many things in it that are they're beautiful relationships. There's the friendship between Sam and Frodo, which at the beginning you don't really see it as much because he's his gardener. Sam is Frodo's gardener, so you really don't think.
Is that what it's like in the story? He's his gardener?
In the books, it's been a long time since I've read.
But in the movie, I must have missed it. He's his gardener?
Yes, that's in the very first scene when Gandalf is finding or comes into Frodo's house or whatever, and Sam is creeping outside the window.
Right.
You find out that that's his gardener.
Oh, no way.
He says, "What are you, a burglar?" And he's like, "No, his gardener."
I'd never picked up on that.
Yeah, and then he says it again, and when he meets when they're in, I think it's in Return of the King, where, or maybe it's maybe Two Towers, but anyway, where Faramir captures them, and he's trying to take the ring back to Gondor.
Right.
He says, "What are you, his bodyguard?" And Sam goes, "No, Miss Gardner." So
I thought he was joking, man. Wow.
No.
All right. So we have this story. We have got. In the very beginning, you have Cate Blanchett kind of giving you a backstory of what's going on. Yes. Thousands and thousands of years ago, before the Lord of the Rings story, you had like an epic battle of Middle Earth. Mm-hmm. You had the good guys, which consisted of, I guess, the elves and
men
and dwarves.
Yeah,
and they were going up against Sauron, right?
Mm-hmm. Sauron.
That's right. What did I say? Sauron?
I was just repeating.
Okay, I thought you were correcting me. I thought you were like Sabrina, man. Whenever she's on this show, she just rips me apart. But anyway, so you got this big bad dude. He created like this ultimate ring to rule everybody. So you've got this fight to stop Sauron. To stop the bad guy into taking over the world, right?
Yes.
They cut off his hand. The ring destroys Sauron. You know what? Why don't you finish?
However you finish, it's fine. I mean, there's different ways of pronouncing it. It just depends on which character says his name.
Potato, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right, so they take the ring from him, and he's destroyed for the moment. You've got Ezekiel, he's the king. You've got the king.
Okay.
You're following me, right?
Right. I'm
Because if you're not, people at home are definitely not following
right.
me.
It's
Ezekiel.
no, that's not it.
I'm
now
close,
that you've
though.
said it like that, I can't remember the real name.
Anyway, he takes the ring and it corrupts him. It corrupts him and mankind, and he ends up losing the ring, and the ring is lost for...
Theodore.
That's what I said. Theodore.
Right.
Whatever, man. So the ring is lost for years and years and years and years until it's picked up again from Gollum.
Yes.
I said that right.
Gollum, yeah.
And then Gollum loses it, and then Frodo's uncle, Bilbo, picks it up, and
Yes.
that's where we pick it up in the story.
Yes.
So Gandalf finds out that Bilbo has had the ring, figures out that it's the Ring of Power, and they must go to Mordor to destroy the ring.
Yes.
Am I right? Am I
Yes.
right with this, man? We're
To
struggling.
Mordor, yes.
What did I say?
Modor, but it's okay.
Mordor?
Yes.
I wish we were talking about Star Wars. We should have done
It's
Star
the
Wars.
first time I've ever been nerdier than you. And
Whatever. You know what? We're running out of time for Fellowship. Talk about the movie. Do you like Fellowship?
I do. Of the three, it's probably my second favorite. It was, of course, it's the first one. It's basically it's the beginning. I mean, it's where it's for the ring comes to Frodo because Bilbo wills it to him because Bilbo leaves.
Right.
He goes to be with the elves in Rivendell, and Frodo takes on this massive responsibility because, and he doesn't want it. Gandalf tells him, he's like, you have to take it away. And he says, no, I'll give it to you. But Gandalf knows that with the power of the ring and
it'll corrupt him.
Yeah, it would corrupt him. And he believes that Frodo is pure enough hearted that it would be best in his hands.
Yeah.
So he just has him take it to Rivendell where the elves are. And then Frodo believes that once he takes it there, that he can, give it to them and they'll know what to do with it.
Yeah.
But he takes this, that there's a journey to get to the elves, and he, his gardener best buddy, Sam, ends up joining him. And then by happenstance, his two cousins, Merry and Pippin.
Those are his cousins?
Yes.
Wow, I thought they were like his friends or whatever.
No, they're his cousins.
Man, all right, go on.
There's a scene in the movie that I think Mary says, yeah, we're cousins on his mother's side, twice removed or something crazy like that.
You're right.
Yeah, and but they end up going. They're supposed to meet Gandalf in Bree, this little town at this inn called the Prancing Pony, and they go and before they even get there, they meet these riders in black, which are servants of Sauron, and they have wraiths on them. These riders they have these undead wraiths. They're kind of like zombies, I guess, for people that just don't watch movies like this.
Right.
But they're the undead, and you can't kill them. And they're linked to Sauron, and they feel the presence of the ring, so they're ever searching for it. They want to bring it back to him. And these things, they try so hard to get the ring from him, but they escape them, and they get to Bree, and then they find out that Gandalf never came. He never showed up. So they don't know what they're supposed to do, and they're there, and they come into contact with someone named Strider, who he's a...
His name's Aragon.
Well, they call him Strider because he's outcast, basically. He's denied the throne because he's the true king of Gondor. He's the heir to the throne of Gondor because he's Ithildar's heir. But he has chosen not to take that path, so he's just outcast himself or exiled himself. And but he decides to help them, and he helps them escape the wraiths, takes them to Rivendell, and which the link with that is he is in love with the Elf King's daughter,
Arwen.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
There's
Yeah,
Arwen.
what's up?
Yeah, of course you get that one right. Yes, he is in love with Arwen,
Yeah.
and she help Frodo gets hurt really bad by the wraiths, and they get ambushed. He gets hurt. She saves his life, and that begins the link with Frodo and the elves. And that's the way it builds. Like each person he comes into contact with, something happens to whether he helps them or they help him, and it forges a bond.
It forms the fellowship.
Yes, and that's the fellowship. That's the basis of the whole movie, which it kind of goes. The men and the dwarves and the elves meet together in this conference or whatever, to decide the fate of the ring. And the only one that really knows what to do with it is the Elf King. And he tells them, he's like, you have to destroy it. You can't use it. Nobody can wield it. It'll corrupt you. So you have to take it to Mordor and cast it back into Mount Doom, where it was made.
Yeah.
And he tells them, one of you has to do this. Well, then they start fighting amongst themselves and saying, well, no, you have to. Well, I'll do it because, well, I'm never going to see the ring in the hands of an elf. The dwarves don't trust the elves and vice versa.
Yeah.
And so finally Frodo is so upset. The ring already has a pull on him because he sees the turmoil it's already causing.
Yeah.
And he volunteers and he says, I don't know the way, but if you'll take me, then I'll do it.
Yeah.
And that's the story from then in Fellowship. Just, it's all of these men and dwarves and elves. They find a way to come together despite their differences to help him and to help him do it's the common good of all the people of Middle Earth.
You said this was your second favorite film of the series. This is actually my first.
Is it?
I just enjoy so many elements of it, and a lot of them are just cool cinematography or just kind of cool bad A moments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of them was with Arwen, when she's saving Frodo and she's riding away from the bad dudes or whatever.
Yes,
and,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And she stops right by the river and they're like, give me the halfling. And she's like, you want him? Come get him. I was like, oh yeah, that's awesome, man.
If you want him, come and claim him.
There was just so many cool scenes like that. There's another one with Aragorn, and he's up on the mountain, and the bad dudes are trying to not the mountain, but
it's
almost looks like Stonehenge kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the name of it.
They're up there, and he just comes up, and he's all going in slow motion, and he's just like, ka-cha, ka-cha, ka-cha.
I love it when he throws the torch, and it hits the thing right in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just so many cool moments like that in this particular movie, more so than in the other kind of movies. That's why I think I like this one more, Yeah. So anyway, it's called Fellowship of the Ring. We've gone over by many, many minutes. We'll get into Two Towers next on Today's Talk, 930 KWOC.